Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Up Supercast Game Club. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. And joining me today, I have Ills.
Get away from me, you awful thing.
And I got Noah. Thank you. I was hoping somebody would do that. I was going to do that if you didn't. Because there's really no voice acting in this game. But
no.
That's as close as we got when we played Jet Force Gemini for the Game Club this time. And this game was picked for us to play by one of our Patreon supporters. Mitch won the raffle and chose this game. So, Jet Force Gemini, thank you, Mitch, by the way, and thank you all of our Patreon supporters. I just want to say that. Thank you guys for supporting the podcast. We really appreciate it. And we'll continue to play games that you pick, even if they're not always the best games ever, but we'll continue to play them regardless. That's what we do. And Jet Force Gemini was released on the Nintendo 64 in October of 1999 and is developed and published by Rare. Not Nintendo. Nintendo did not publish this game. Rare developed and published it. So they did all their own work here. And Jet Force Gemini is a third-person shooter, and it takes place. It's basically a sci-fi shooter. You play as three different characters, actually. There's three playable characters. You have Juno, Vila, and Lupus. Juno and Vila are a pair of twins, and Lupus is their dog, their best pal. And you play as all three of them, not at the same time. You play as them separately. And you are fighting against an evil alien race. And they're led by a big giant bug called Mizar. And I guess all
they're basically just
bugs.
ants.
Just a bunch of bugs.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part, there's the troops are like ants. Then you have other bugs. Some of them are weird. They don't even make a lot of sense. They're like spaceships. But yeah, you're fighting
they're just like
bugs.
straight up UFOs.
Some of them are straight up UFOs. Yeah. Some of them are kind of like bug heads, like floating bug heads.
Mm-hmm.
They're weird, but there's a lot of different. There's kind of like big beetle guys too, but you're fighting bugs basically. You're going through the universe, you go to multiple planets, and you're just shooting up bugs. It's a third-person shooter, kind of an adventure game a little bit too, like a 3D
search action type game.
Yeah,
especially in the back half. You know, you got a lot of going back and trying to figure out where shit is. It's like a Metroidvania type shit.
Kind of like Metroidvania, yeah, because you get upgrades that let you explore different parts of levels that you played previously.
After the first half, you get like a jetpack upgrade for everybody, and you can use everybody and everybody else's planets and stuff like that.
Yeah, because each character has their own like set path that they take, and you have to, through the first half of the game, you have to follow their set path, and they all each conclude with a boss fight, and then they all get to the same area, and they meet up. And after this, in the second half of the game, you can play as any of the characters, go to any of the planets, and anytime you want, and fly there, kind of just to explore, because it becomes like a fetch quest, like a search, where you have to search for different things. I'll get to it later, but that's the fucking worst part of the game.
We'll definitely get to
that. So the gameplay, I guess we'll start with that, where it is third person, like we mentioned. You walk around, and it's kind of like a 3D platformer. But you also have, when you go to shoot, it kind of similar to like a Resident Evil game. Well, actually, you can shoot when you're just walking around in third person normally. You can just shoot, although it's not really very helpful.
Well, for reference sake, we played the Rare Replay version, which is a little bit different than the normal version.
I wish I played the Rare Replay version.
Yeah, so
the controls on the original game, I played the original game. The controls are god-awful. They're absolutely horrible.
It's I have an idea of this, maybe it's not so bad if you're actually playing with an N64 controller, and the fact that we're so used to twin stick controls, like there's a chance that it might have been bearable originally.
Probably. Just as like GoldenEye was bearable, and like we didn't think of it twice, but it aged way more worse than GoldenEye did.
Yes, but it definitely aged worse than that in terms of the controls. But at the time, because I did play this game when it first came out, you do get used to it. It is a little jarring at first. But I will say that the dual analog stick fucking vastly improved being able to control this game.
Oh yeah, I saw like an immediate difference like when I tried it out when you gave me the controller, like instantly, like better.
It's just much easier to control.
But it's the combination of like a lot of bullshittery with the enemies and how the shooting mechanics work. And that, like, how you have to fight the enemies in combination with bad controls that just make the gameplay really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I want to explain too, because when you have to press one button, right? You press one button to go over the shoulder, and well, it's like your character becomes transparent. The camera zooms in, and your character becomes transparent, and then you get crosshairs on the screen, and then you can move the crosshairs around. When you're playing on the Xbox, you move the crosshairs with one stick, and then you can strafe with the other. And you kind of move all around, but you just kind of strafe when you move left and right. Because that's how it was on the original. You use on the N64 controller, you use the analog stick to move the crosshairs and the C buttons to strafe. Well, I think you hold the R button to aim on the N64
you hold the R button.
And then Z to shoot. And it's on the N64 controller, it was a lot tougher because the crosshairs would kind of like snap back to the middle of the screen. Yeah,
that's the thing. That's one of the reasons why like the aiming is so hard, because you have to gently nudge where you want the cruiser to be, and to move like the screen more further to the right or to the left or up and down. You have to push it all the way, and that like kind of nudges the screen to move. But if you let go of the analog stick, it'll just like snap back to the middle like instantly. So if it's like, especially with ground enemies, it's not that bad because you don't have to stand in like aim, because you can just like walk forward and like align yourself with the ground enemy and just start shooting. So it's not too bad there. But with half the enemies that are aerial and they like move around like these drones and shit, it is so frustrating to try and aim because they don't stand still. You have to stand still. You're a sitting duck.
I would say most of the air enemies actually are kind of forgiving. They do kind of stay still. They don't really move that much.
Yeah, some of them stand still. Some of them like move like fucking nuts. And a lot of the ground enemies just don't stop moving.
The ground enemies are fucking... The AI on that, I don't understand. They just run all over the place.
Yeah.
They're just constantly running everywhere.
It's like, really frustrating.
It's annoying. They'll run back to the beginning of like an area you already were at, and you have to like backtrack. Because there's like these life force doors sometimes that you have to kill all the enemies in the room to like open up.
And you say sometimes, but it's really everywhere.
Almost every room.
But you'd be like, where the fuck is this guy? And you had to go all the way back down like a tunnel that you were just in because he just randomly ran past you at one point.
Yeah.
And to Noah's point about like trying to aim at shit, the sensitivity in this, it's so fucking bad. Like,
I wish you could adjust it.
Yeah, you
and
can't.
It's inverted controls that you can't change.
Yeah. So even though me and Brandon played the rare replay version, even the fixes they made with that, it wasn't all that good.
Yeah, it's definitely not perfect still, even then. It's still sometimes hard.
And beyond that, you can't even jump while aiming, and you can't move the camera by itself if you're not aiming.
Which is weird that you can't jump while aiming, because clearly you can in the boss fights.
Yeah.
But you can't in the regular game, which is fucking annoying. It's like, why did they do this?
Also, there's a rolling mechanic. You have to crouch, and then if you press the buttons to strafe, you roll. It is the most useless fucking thing in the game.
I mean, crouching is completely fucking useless in this game. Except
well, you can use crouching to get like through like little tunnels and shit to progress, but that's the only time you use it.
Twice.
I mean, that's true, but if we want to talk about useless stuff in the game, I just want to mention that the pistol is in this game, and it sucks ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's a starting weapon. As soon as you get something else,
gun in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Because
Machine gun and the tri-rocket
like we said,
shooter.
like you have to spray and pray because the aiming is so bad.
Yep.
Machine gun is your best fucking friend for that reason.
Without the machine gun, you're just taking out
aerial
enemies.
guys. The machine gun will plow through them. Most of them like die in like 1 or 2 shots with the machine gun.
But you're going back to like the AI thing, and it's in general like the enemies. They give you so much health in the game. Like when I first started, I was like, "Holy shit! I have like basically 4 life bars. Like this is a lot of health." And now I instantly realized once I started shooting shit and they were shooting back how necessary that huge life bar was, because you're constantly getting hit. Like enemies, once you spawn into their field of range, they instantly lock onto you and shoot you like immediately. Like I would turn around corners and I would get shot like before I even get to see where the enemies are. A lot of times.
And it's even harder on the original control scheme to avoid it.
Oh, yes. Because it takes you like a couple of seconds just to fucking turn around and aim at them. It was really, really frustrating. And there's health pickups everywhere, and they're absolutely necessary because each battle, each area, or each door you go through, you're losing at least half your fucking health. Yeah. Like with every battle.
And to add to that, I mean, they give you 2 continues per zone. And I mean, it's pretty generous with the health and the continues. Like, even if you die, like you restart
all the
in the
enemies
middle of that.
Dead.
Yeah, all the enemies stay dead.
But if you lose all the continues, you just have to restart the whole fucking level.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty good.
It's pretty generous. Yeah.
It's good because the game is so hard to play. Like I have a feeling like they knew it wasn't very intuitive, so they gave you a cushion there.
Yeah, thank God. I like that all the guys stay dead. When you go and if you backtrack from room to room, they still stay dead.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Well, I wish they'd fucking stay dead after you left the section, but yeah.
Yeah, that too, but yeah. If you leave the planet and come back, then you have to, or the different, I guess, levels or sections, in the area.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least they stay. I like that they stay dead. I would be really annoyed if they constantly respawned every time you go from one room to the other.
Oh yeah, that would be unbearable.
Because there is fucking backtracking in this game.
Whole lot.
So, with the combat as well, you have a bunch of weapons. We mentioned there's a pistol, there's a machine gun, which is the best gun in the game. There's a lot of weapons in this game, and I want to say that like fucking more than half of them are completely useless.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the grenades, all the mines, the flare.
The flare I only had to use one fucking time.
Yeah, to light something up. Yeah.
The remote mines, fucking
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a flamethrower. There's like
useless
a sniper.
Sniper. There's one spot.
One fucking area in the game you had to use a sniper rifle.
Because it was built for it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's sniper ammo right there. Like the flamethrower I used and I ran out of ammo. I swear to God, I didn't get ammo for it the rest of the fucking game ever again.
Or an upgrade capacity upgrade for it.
Yeah, because you do pick up upgrade capacities along the way for your
it runs out so fast.
It does. It's so weird. And the electricity gun does that too.
Same. Yep.
It's like, what the fuck? And you get shurikens at one point, which is like so
Those
weird.
are pretty cool.
It is cool because they will chop the guys' heads off.
And they'll home in on them. Mm-hmm. Like, once you lock onto them, it stays locked on.
Yeah, it's kind of like the homing missiles. Mm-hmm. Which are also good. And also the tri-rockets are fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love the tri-rockets.
Tri-rockets, machine gun.
Homing missiles.
Yeah, the homing missiles. And then once in a while, the plasma shotgun was good, but most of the time it was useless.
Rarely. My God.
The only time I found it good was in the zombie level when you were shooting.
Yes.
It was wicked good there. It was actually. It was one of the times where I was like, "Wow, this is actually really fun." On that random part, it was like you were just going around. It was the area with the big tree, and there was so many guys, and you were just going around with the shotgun, just blasting the fuck out of them, and like that was like it was one of those rare moments in that game where I was like, pun intended, I guess, where you were like, "Wow, this is actually really cool." Like, I actually like that area in particular with all the zombie. All the zombie bugs, It was cool.
Yeah, there are a few moments here and there where I wasn't like on a ledge ready to die, but
yeah, that was one of them. But yeah, it was weird. There's the fish food as a weapon too, which is just complete joke. It's just, hey, you can feed fish with this, and that's literally all you can do. You can't do anything else with it. You can huck it at enemies; it does nothing. You just randomly have fish food, which is annoying because when you pick it up, then you have to cycle through it.
Yeah. The item management is kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you can press the control pad left or right to cycle through your weapons, or X and Y on the Xbox controller, and you just cycle one way or through the other.
Or A and B on the N64 controller.
I wish you could synchronize them or something.
Yeah. I wish you could just throw
Changing
some away.
any type of controls would have been nice.
Yeah, there should have been more customization in the control scheme.
And especially because every character can essentially find every weapon or almost every weapon. So you're like, every character has their own arsenal, and at the beginning, like when they're in their own separate routes, it seems like they're each getting their own weapons, even though everyone's getting the machine gun too, which is fine. But like after that point, after you reach the second half of the game, like everybody will have every weapon pretty much, and it's just a fucking waste of space, really.
Yeah, I wish you could just drop weapons or get rid of them, because there's so many you don't use. Like, there's so many useless weapons in this game. I will say I would assume that they're kind of good. I just want to. This is a good segment into mentioning this, because we probably never have to talk about it again, because none of us really played it except for me. They would maybe be fun in the multiplayer mode, because there is multiplayer. There's like a death match that you can play where you can choose different characters. You can play as other characters other than the main three. You can play as like the soldiers, all the different color ones. You can play as like, just fucking tribals and shit. But there's that where you can just do deathmatch and run around and like pick up the weapons and use them and shoot at each other, which I can see how like having a flamethrower and that might be kind of fun.
I mean, if it had ammo, sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get ammo in it. I don't remember. But there's also other multiplayer modes you can unlock. You can unlock like the racing mini game, both of them. You can unlock like a shooting gallery thing as well. Just random. I played the multiplayer. I don't really remember much. I just kind of like hey, let's try this out. And it's just whatever. The other thing I want to mention though, that this game does have a co-op mode, which is actually really cool. And I did play this a lot with a friend. When you get Floyd, the little robot, he follows you and whatever character you choose. He just follows them around after you unlock him. And after you unlock Floyd, if you plug a second controller in and the second controller presses start, they get to control a second crosshair on the screen and shoot as Floyd.
Yeah,
which is really
that would have been cool.
It's a really cool little add-in mode, and it's super helpful during like boss battles, because he has like infinite ammo and you can just continually shoot. It's really cool.
I mean, I was wondering why Floyd could shoot, but like he can't fucking do anything while you're playing single player. So what the fuck?
He's controlled by a second player, so
yeah,
it's a cool little added like co-op mode that they threw in there. So. Yeah, the game does have multiplayer if you want to play through it with a friend. And it is helpful. And speaking of Floyd, I will say the Floyd missions, fuck them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking hate them. Fucking hate them.
Especially because one of them is mandatory.
One of them you have to do. When you do, like, when you come across one, you're like, oh, this is a little fine, little mini game type of thing. Well, actually, I think there's 2.
5. There's 5.
Well, yeah, there's 5 in the game. I think only 2 are mandatory, right?
I mean, the one for the pyramid.
No,
that's
there's
not
3.
That's not a mission.
3, right? That's not a mission. Okay, but it is. You do have to do the pyramid one.
Yeah.
And then you have to do one to get a spaceship part, which that pisses me off. And then you can do one at the end of the game.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The one at the end of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but that one's super easy.
That one's super easy. The one where you have to get the spaceship part, though.
It's dog shit.
It fucking took me like so many tries. It took me like 30 fucking tries at least. And
I mean, it took me a long ass time to figure out that I actually had to get a fucking high score on that, because they don't tell you that for the first thing. And then secondly, like trying to get that high score, fuck you, dude. That is so fucking hard.
It was wicked fucking hard.
You have to be like fucking perfect with everything, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're lucky you didn't have to fucking do it.
Oh, I know. If I had to go through that with the fucking N64 controls, I would have fucking blown my brains
first of all,
out.
I did it when I was like 10 years old, so it is possible. But holy fuck, it's really difficult.
I mean, it's also because the mechanics in the Floyd missions kind of suck too. I mean, the fact that you can run up against the wall and then suddenly you're like grinding on the wall and it won't let you move.
Slows you
what the fuck is that?
It's like as soon as you touch a wall, you have to like fucking restart.
Yeah.
And then the shooting was also difficult even then, because like you had to like shoot these targets. You have to use their shortcut as well. You fucking have to.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, also, how the fuck do you figure out? I just like, how do you figure out that you're even supposed to do that to unlock the shortcut? You know what I mean? Like shoot the blue thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just like.
Well, I figured it out because when you read the secondary objectives, it says, "Oh, destroy the reactor core." So you just look at the reactor core.
Good point. You have to shoot that. You have to shoot 3 things. You have to collect all the chips, and you have to do it within like a minute.
It's like like a minute.
Under a minute. I did it, and I showed Noah my time. I was like, look how fucking close I was. I have 59 like point something. I was at 59 seconds.
I got super close like a bunch of times, and then when I finally did it, I was like 57. I was like, oh well, thanks.
And all that just to get a pair of earplugs that you give to a fucking bear.
Which makes no fucking sense. Like, why would you find earplugs there? Like, fuck, just tell us. What the fuck?
The only hint you get is that he, like, tells you, I think, where to go.
He tells you the place, and then he tells you have to get it with the little robot.
But you don't know that you have to get a gold medal to unlock it.
Yeah, you don't. The game doesn't tell you at all. It doesn't tell you any of the prizes or anything. Like, in any other mission, if you just get a gold medal, you get a gold medal. You don't get anything extra.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so there's no indication like that anything special.
No, there's no indication.
No.
The game loves to give you no indication on shit.
Yeah, like you wouldn't know that you have to do the race to unlock a spaceship part.
You don't know where any of the spaceship parts are.
No, you don't. You just have to randomly go to levels and walk around. And you have to go, like, there's a lot of levels you have to go with a specific character, because you have to, like...
Or multiple characters, because some can only do one thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because each character has their own like special ability. Lupus can hover. He has like little like jets under his feet.
Yeah,
and he can
that's why
hover
he's the best.
For a while. Yeah, I love Lupus. And Juno can walk in lava, although they never tell you.
No.
This.
Oh yeah, Juno walks in lava. Yeah,
Yeah.
Vela can swim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vela can swim. Juno, when you walk in lava, I forgot when I first like came back to the game, I forgot that was his ability. And when I first got to Mizar's temple, and I was like walking around in that little like underground maze for like so long, because I like would get to that room with the lava, and I was like, well, I can't get across that gap.
Yeah, they never tell you that he can do that. Yeah.
No, they don't tell you. So I walked around for like so long, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I have enough health. I'm gonna try jumping across this gap.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah. Like hit me, like because they don't fucking tell you. With Vela, it's obvious because you jump in the water and she starts sinking, and you're like, okay, so she can swim underwater.
She has way more control than anybody else.
Yeah, with Lupus, you know, it's
also obvious
too. So with Juno, it's like I just like you fall in the lava and you're like, oh, guess he's immune to lava.
It's so dumb that they don't tell you this stuff.
Yeah, there should be like on the character select screen or something, you know. Like special.
Yeah, like they have this weird, when you selected the characters, they have this weird thing where it shows like the X-rays of them, like it shows like the inside of the body, but they won't fucking tell you what their abilities are.
Yeah, I like that screen. I think it's cool with the
it's
treadmill.
Cool, but
they're,
like Jesus.
On the treadmill. I think that's cool, but they should have like put it on there.
Yeah, I like that you can select the character at any time. Like
yes,
you can select a planet and a character at any time. From the menu. It's
so going from planet to planet, stage to stage is really annoying because there's an annoying, unskippable fucking cutscene that you have to watch of a spaceship landing every fucking time.
Yeah.
It's really annoying after the first time.
Initially, I was fine with it. Like, I thought this was, it's just a loading screen, obviously. But after a fucking while, holy shit, did I hate that music. I was so fucking mad.
It's not that annoying in the first half of the game because you're going from level to level and it's kind of cool. Like you get to like cinematic view of like the area you're visiting and you're like, oh, this is neat, you know. and I do like it at that point. But when exactly, once you get to the second half and you have to like switch from planet to planet, and then you get to a planet and you realize, fuck, I need another character, and you have to like constantly keep doing it over and over again. It's really annoying.
Basically, what we're saying is that the second half ruins everything in this game.
Yeah, it does. It does. Because I was legitimately having a good time in the first half of the game.
I wouldn't say I was having a good time, but I wasn't having a bad time.
I certainly wasn't having a good time.
Did you get to the second half of the game, Noah?
I unlocked Lupus and did a few levels with him. Couldn't go past that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the good part.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, the game just, like, once you reach the end of the first half of the game, like, you fight the last boss, and then he flies off, and then you have, like, a whole nother... It took me longer to beat the second half of the game than the first half. So, I mean, it was, like, 2/3 of the game left.
Yeah.
And it was
like half.
boring as shit, because you had to go back, and you had to fucking go back to every level and use different characters to find different shit. I did like that there were new planets to find every so often.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But every time that I had to redo a level that I already did, or had to go back to it because I didn't have the right character, whatever the case may be, man, what a fucking drag.
Yep. It's a real fucking pain in the ass. So like once once each character beats up in that middle part, you do fight the last boss. It's like so fucking easy. And you beat him like 2 seconds, and then he gets on an asteroid and is like, Mizar's like, I'm gonna crash into Earth. And the king of the tribals is like, oh, well, he's going to crash into Earth in your home planet, and the only way to stop him is to catch up to the asteroid, but your ships aren't fast enough, so you have to use this spaceship. But this spaceship is still in a work in progress, so you have to go find all these spaceship parts. And I have the last spaceship part, and I won't give it to you unless you save every single one of the tribals in the game. And that, I will tell you, whoever thought of that, I hope you're listening to this, because you're a fucking asshole.
That makes you hate the tribals even more.
You are the reason why it took me 21 years to beat this game. Because I would get to that part, and I would say, no. And I did it like 3 times. And I mean, every time.
It's so weird that Rare feels the need to make players, like, 100% their game sometimes. Like, this kind of happens in Banjo-Kazooie as well. Like, you almost have to 100% that game to beat it. Like, you have to get almost everything. In this game, you basically have to 100% the game. And it's so fucking tedious. Like, even just the tribals themselves, the fact that you have to collect a killable fucking collectible. Oh my god, did that waste so much time.
And does the game try to go out of its way to fucking kill those collectibles? Oh god.
No, it gets... When you get to some parts of the game, like, afterwards, it was like this specific one in Goldwood that took me like 4 tries. Because they purposely put them in spots that they're like, haha, you're gonna accidentally fucking kill it the first time you come in this area.
Yeah, and lots of explosions and shit.
The explosive barrels,
They put them next to barrels. They put them next to mines. They put them in areas where spaceships are above them, and if you shoot them, they fall down and die. They have specific ants that will go around and kill the tribals if you don't kill them fast enough. And it's fucking
And if
annoying.
the tribals die, there's no easy way to restart the level. You have to leave the level, either by the entrance, you have to walk all the way back to the entrance, or you have to teleport back, fast travel back to the planet, watch that stupid fucking cutscene again.
No, you don't.
No, you don't?
No, you can just switch to one character and then switch back to your character, and it will start you at the beginning of where you
were. Yeah, I guess. I never did that, but yeah.
I always did that. You don't have to watch any cutscenes. You just switch to the other character and then switch back, and then it will just restart the area you're in.
But even so, you have to restart the area.
Which is fucking annoying.
And, oh my god. Like, you have to do all the Life Force doors again. You have to kill all those enemies again.
You have to collect the tribals that you had already collected.
Yeah.
You basically have to do all the tribals in one run, complete the area. Once you complete the area, if you go back, the tribals respawn, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it saves your best score, which is... It's weird that they respawn. They should just not show up again, which odd.
Yeah, I mean, this is another thing that feels like it was ripped from Banjo-Kazooie, which came out just before this game.
Yeah.
Like, you have to collect all the notes in that game. Well, you have to collect 100 notes
Yeah.
Per level, and they save your best score, but once you go back to that level, you have to do all of them again, like if you want to get all 100. So, fuck me. I don't know why. But
Right,
okay.
they should just keep the ones you collected the first
Exactly.
time through, and then just have them not respawn. You have to collect them again. Like, it made it to the point where, like, I wasn't my first run through. I knew I was going to get to, because I had played this game, I knew I was going to get to the point where I had to collect all the tribals, and I wasn't trying, you know? I wasn't even trying to collect them all, because I knew, I was like, well, I'm going to have to come back, and I can't collect them on this first time through. Some of the areas you can collect them on the first time through, but,
yeah.
you know, who knows for sure which areas those are. I'm sure there's speedrunners out there that know and do those on the first time, but if you're speedrunning this game, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, this game has like a very good like word of mouth apparently online, and I just felt like, holy shit, your childhood must have had to been so traumatic for you to love this game so much, because I fucking hate it.
Well, I mean, I played this game as a kid, and even I, as a kid, was like, I hate this tribal shit. Like, I can't fucking beat this game because this is so dumb. I don't want to do this. This isn't fun. So, like,
yeah, like the game definitely has like the rare charm, all like the enemies and like the music is cool and all that stuff, and like the presentation, but the gameplay just ruins everything. It's bad.
I don't know. I don't know if bad. I would say it's bad, but it's not great.
I certainly wasn't having fun.
I wasn't having fun either.
I had fun in the first half. I did not have any fun at all in the second half.
There were moments like here and there where I was like, you know, this is kind of good. This is okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, moments where like I had to like explore and try to find stuff, like exploring like the caves when you go into like the swamp area and you have to go through the chimney and like find like the secret areas, blow up the crates with the tri-rocket to find like the robot parts, things like that. But
yeah, and I liked when you actually found like new planets from offshoots of old planets you had to, you know, go back through again. Like, I thought that was pretty cool, and I liked how many different planets there were. Like, the game was a lot bigger than I initially thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's one thing I will say is there's a lot of planets and there's a lot of like decent amount of variation in terms of like just the worlds you get to go to.
Yeah,
which I think is cool. I like there's like the forest world that you start in, but then there's like you get to explore big spaceships and you know, like a swampy zombie area. You get to go inside of a big bug. Like, there's a whole level that's just inside of a giant bug. You like exploring its insides, which is really cool. So I do like the variation on the different levels. And there are good things. I will say the graphics. I think the graphics are pretty good for the time, like for N64 game. I think because N64 games a lot of times, you know, they didn't really age super well. I think this game, like, still to this, like, holds up. For an N64 game, holds up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the textures are kind of muddy and they don't look great.
Yeah,
but,
it's sometimes hard to distinguish what you can interact with in the environment.
Yes, true. But for the most part, I thought, like, the art style, the aesthetic of it, it's very colorful, it's very cool.
I like the bug designs are neat. I like the bosses. I think are pretty cool.
Yes,
like
but
bugs.
There is not a lot of variation in enemy type, so
there's not. No,
it's exhausting to fight those little drone guys, especially the drones with the shields. My God.
Oh, fuck those guys.
Lupus, I hate the guys with the giant shields, especially. Like, those are guys fucking ridiculous. Lupus, I love Lupus. I think he's really, really great. And I especially love after you get the upgrades in the second half of the game and he just becomes a tank. I
did not like his tank form. I like the regular form more, but yeah, it was alright.
I think it's funny that he
becomes
a tank. And when you go in the water, he gets little like floaties that come out, which is it's a cool little touch. I do like that. And like his hover thing like becomes like the tank treads like move out to the side, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I do like. I will say one thing about this game that's actually really good. I think it is actually probably the best thing in the game is the music and the sound design. I think are both very good. I like the music a lot. I like the main theme. I know you said you hated it after listening to it a million times. With the screens.
Yeah,
But
I mean, my initial thought of it was like, I kind of like the soundtrack, and then
like,
I played the
yeah.
game for another 20 hours, and I was like, I fucking hate this
It's very
soundtrack.
orchestral. The soundtrack is good. I like the SS Anubis. I love that music a lot.
Yep.
And the sound design is also very good. Like it boasts like, oh, it has Dolby surround sound, which is thing at the time was like, oh, this is really cool if you hook it up to your surround sound. And like the splattering, the weapons sound good. Like the machine guns and the pistols and everything sounds really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the splattering of the bugs when you're shooting them is very satisfying. Like when you blow them up with a rocket and it's just fucking bug parts everywhere, and there's like a splatter, and the sound effects of the splatter in the weapons, all like they're actually very, very good.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying to blow them up and blow them to pieces. And one random funny thing, you can collect their heads after you blow them up. If you blow their heads off, you can collect their heads. And if you collect enough of them, you can unlock little cheat codes, like very rare cheat codes, by the way, like
Rainbow blood.
Rainbow blood, like all the guts that will spray out are all rainbows, and eventually you can unlock. Oh, go ahead.
What's super weird is that you can actually get the tribals' heads too if they die.
You can.
Why?
There's a counter on it. There's a counter on the
It's
fucking
so
screen.
strange. Why would you? Why? You're supposed to
know.
save them, not shoot them in the face.
Well, which is dumb that it's a requirement. That man, it doesn't even make any sense. Why would they encourage you to kill them if it's a requirement to beat the game? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that it's there. But eventually, one of the cheats that you get to unlock is kind of funny. Rare has their own like little mascot called Mr. Pants, and you can unlock a cheat mode where ants in your pants, where every ant in the game becomes Mr. Pants. And it's just like this weird guy in his underwear. And there's actually a Mr. Pants video game that came out on Game Boy Advance, and it's like a puzzle game. Only game that Mr. Pants was actually in. Yeah. And if you collect 200 heads, you get Jet Force Kids mode, and it just turns the characters Juno and Fila into like little kid versions of themselves, which is weird as well. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but that's such a rare thing to do, to put that kind of cheat into the game. They love that kind of shit with like not Donkey Kong, but like DK head mode or whatever in GoldenEye and stuff like that. Just like this aesthetic thing.
Yeah. And you can kind of see like something similar to that when we played Ukulele in the Impossible Lair. They have all those kind of
screen filters and shit.
Yeah, they love that kind of shit. Yeah, I mean that's it for like the good things, in terms of the like really, really good things that stand out. I think it's just the sound design and the music. I think are both very good, and I do like the just the character art design and just the aesthetic of the game. I think is pleasing and it looks decent. But then playing it is a whole nother fucking thing that they kind of, I don't know. They kind of just they dropped the fucking ball. That's all I'm gonna say. I think the main problem is maybe they were I don't know if they were just trying too much. It's hard to say what went wrong, because at some point they must have thought that this worked, and at the time, like you mentioned, it probably did, but now it just doesn't hold up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we were a lot more forgiving back then because we were stupid. That's
it. That's all it was. We didn't know better controls. We didn't have 2 analog sticks on our controllers. We didn't have.
But also that, like,
but
we
the
would
thing is,
accept
we had
a whole part
GoldenEye,
of the
which
game.
felt amazing at the time. You know what I mean? It's
and that we
weird.
would accept like a whole part of the game, which is just a horrible fetch quest,
Right.
or that some people would.
Yeah, some people would. Not even me as a fucking 10-year-old accepted that. I was like, why? I was like, I don't want to beat this game. And I just finally beat it after 21 years, and I'll tell you what. I mean, it wasn't fun to do.
It wasn't worth it.
No, you get to the end, you fight Mizar, who's not particularly hard. He has one attack that's bullshit, but then the rest of his attacks are like easy as fuck.
That one attack is really bullshit.
Yeah, he has this electric attack that just drains your health in like 2 seconds if you stand in it for. If you literally stand in it for 2 seconds, I think you'll die. Like, it's just ridiculous how fast it drains your health. But
especially compared to every other attack he does.
Yeah, exactly. But then you beat him. You do a Floyd mission to blow up the asteroid. Floyd like sacrifices himself, and then you get to watch them get medals. It's very Star Wars, like
at the very end, Star Wars.
They all get presented medals, and they're the heroes. And then it randomly turns into Juno is just at the Bug Club and decides I'm gonna dance, and he's just dancing, and that's the credits. It's him just dancing in the club by himself.
We didn't even talk about the club part.
I do like the club. The club was cool.
Yeah, that was one of the cooler little reveals.
Yeah, you get to stand on a pad and turn into a bug, and then you get to go into I think it was the Big Fun Bug Club or something like that. And you get to go in there, and it's just a bunch of bugs dancing and having a good time. Yeah, that part.
It's weird that like out of nowhere you have like this bug transformation for Juno, and later on you have like this tribal transformation for Vila. It's so weird. It's so random. It happens like once or twice for Juno. It's twice for Vila. It's once, and like. I'm so confused why this wasn't integrated more into the game. Why it was
why it wasn't
just there? How do they have this power exactly?
Yeah, why are these here? You know, it's just like so weird.
I was also very confused at like the bugs that would just surrender. What were they about exactly? Because why? Like you can't interact with them. Sometimes you actively have to kill them to go through a door.
Life Force door. Yeah.
And that's a fucking war crime. You're not supposed to kill enemies to surrender. But yeah, it's just so weird. Like, why have them surrender at all? You can't let them go.
Yeah, and I thought that maybe if I turned around and walked away, they would whip a gun out on me. And I tried doing that, but they didn't. And I was like, okay, I guess they're just here, surrendering.
They just stay there. Yeah.
And then you do have to kill them because there's a life force door. So sorry, dude. I know you're surrendering and you're scared and you don't want to die, but I have to kill you.
It's very, very strange.
Yeah.
I do also like some of the jetpack sections, which I thought the jetpack was a cool addition.
I did like the jetpack section where on the SS Anubis where you had to go through like all the different platforms.
Yeah.
I actually liked that part. I thought that part was actually pretty good. Yeah, that was a cool addition to the game. It doesn't get used like a lot, but I do like the little sections where it does get used.
I was a little annoyed that your fuel runs out every time you leave the room you're in.
Yeah,
it's like, fuck, let me use it. Why are you...
Right. Because going through some of the stages that were built for Lupus as Juno and Vila were like hard as fuck. Because they were like... You could tell that the stage was built for Lupus because there's like... The lava pits were like easier to go over. And, like, and the stupid floating platforms were easy to jump over because you had control in the air. But then when you're Juno and Vila, it was like, oh fuck, this is like I have to slow down and like actually time these.
Yeah, some of the platforming with Juno and Vila were like bad.
Some of the platforming in general was just fucked up. Like there's I think it's on Echor or Echor. I don't know how to say that name. Where like the platforms are just fucking zooming. Like what the fuck? How are you supposed to make these jumps? It's so fucking rough. But I mean, you there's a jetpack.
There's a jetpack thing. I was like, why are these platforms even here? Who would ever use them? There was that one room where you had to like stand on these like color pads and move this specific color. Like
I like that room.
Yeah.
And there was like when you get in there, when you go back there as Lupus, you're like, well, this room's easy as fuck.
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, they did try to mix it up, and I mentioned earlier there's a racing game where you have to do to get one of the spaceships, where randomly it's like almost like pod racing, and you play as a bug and you race against the other bugs, and you have to win first place to get a prize.
A ship part.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yep, you have to do it to beat the game, but it's not super hard. And then it's weirdly in the Bug Club, there's an extra room with like a arcade machine, and you can play like a top-down racer, but you get nothing for winning.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know what the point is. It's just there. I played it and I won, and I was like, oh, I got nothing for this. So it's a random like little added mini game, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's also you can find a part for the second arcade, and I think it unlocks something if you beat it, but I don't know what it does.
Oh, maybe that's how you unlock it in multiplayer or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's weird that they tried a lot of different things. They tried to mix it up, and some of it worked. I like the Bug Club. I thought that was really cool. I kind of liked when you go into the mines and like you talk to the guy as the tribal, and he's kind of like hiding the spaceship part from Juno and Vila. I kind of actually like the things Mizar's doing.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, this guy's a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. Especially because you got him that fucking magazine.
Right? and then he's like, here, just hide. He's like, you take the spaceship part and hide it from them, and you can only get it if you're the tribal, because then he thinks you're a tribal.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty neat. I mean, the fact that you had to get him that magazine, it's another fucking fetch quest inside of a fetch quest.
Inside of a fetch quest, yeah. You have to
Jesus
get the magazine
Christ.
and then go back. Yeah, it was annoying. Because you're like, oh, well, I gotta go here, but I guess I can't go here yet because I gotta get this guy a thing, and then I gotta go back to another planet and get the thing, and then come back.
And they don't tell you where to go in that one.
No, they don't. You have no idea. I don't even remember where you find it. I think you find it in the...
You find it in the bug.
The bug, yeah. Getting that spaceship part in the bug also was a pain in the ass. With the fucking platforms and the brain.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't that bad. That was one of my easier ones to get.
I kept falling. Just like, I kept falling, and the electricity kept hitting me. I do like the bug. The bug is really cool, and you come out of his asshole.
The bug is cool.
Yeah.
I don't like the boss fights. I didn't like any of the boss fights.
That praying mantis boss was the hardest boss, I think, in the whole game.
I felt like the boss fights wanted you to be way more accurate than the controls would allow. Like,
yeah, and it was hard to tell if you were actually doing damage sometimes.
Yes, true.
Yeah. And the one you fight with, I think it's the one you fight with Juno. You have to like shoot his like little antler things. It's like, there's like such a small hitbox. You're like, what the fuck? If you have the machine gun, you're fine, but the machine gun like drains ammo
runs out
real quick. Real quick.
And it doesn't give you fucking ammo in mid-fight, so you'll just be fucking stuck.
Doesn't give you health or
get stuck using the fucking pistol.
Yeah, I mean, that happened to me. That happened to me with the Vila boss fight, the flying woman, or bug, or whatever.
Queen
I ran out of all my ammo, and she was just zooming the fuck around. I could not kill her, and she would not attack me, because it was her last phase. So we were just, like, stuck in a fucking standstill. Like, I was shooting her with a fucking pistol. I never killed her. I had to reload the fucking place. Yeah, it was just
so dumb that you have to fucking reload the fight if you run out of ammo.
Well, I think I shut off the game and then it started me before the fight.
One thing I will say that's good is if you get to a boss fight, whatever continues you had left, they just completely ignore them. So if you die, you can die as many times as you want. You don't have to restart the whole level again.
If the boss actually chooses to kill you, which would be nice sometimes.
It's a weird situation you get yourself in.
Yeah. Not fun.
All right, so I don't know. Is there anything else that you guys want to mention that you didn't get to cover before we move on?
Why do the pistols look like hair blow dryers?
Yeah.
I want to know.
I never thought of that. Or kind of like a hot glue gun. They kind of look like hot glue guns.
Yeah, hot glue gun.
Yeah.
There were a couple of levels that seemed to be a little bit like larger than they should be, like the SS Anubis level, like the spaceship itself. Like, it was fun going through it, like, but I felt like it was like the rooms were just like so large and empty. So and when you had to backtrack, like, if you found the machine gun, you have to go back to the other door and like shoot it, and then you have to find the red card or the green card. That was a red card, and then you have to go back again. Backtrack through the doors. Like, it felt like...
Oh, you mean the segment?
After you cleared the rooms of enemies, it's just you running for a long time. It just feels like so empty and like... I don't know.
You mean
it
segment?
Just felt weird. Huh?
I think you mean segment, not Anubis. because that's the one that has like a bunch of keys that you have to find.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like I felt like it should have been a little bit more condensed, but that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
All right, so let's get on to recommendations. I will start with Ills.
No, don't play this game. I mean, if you're like a rare fanatic, sure, but you won't be having fun. At least I didn't. And if you play it, don't beat it. Just play it to the halfway point and then stop. Just do that for yourself. Like, hug yourself. You know, take care of yourself. And that's it.
All right, Noah.
Yep, definite. Especially if you're playing the original version, definite hard no. Don't play it. If you're playing the more recent Rare Replay version, still no. Not as hard as the original, but still no. It's just not. I didn't have a good time playing it at all.
I would say it's pretty much what Il said. I mean, obviously if you're going to play this game at this point, play it on Rare Replay. It has better, upgraded, more modern controls. But yeah, only really got to play the first half of the game. I'll tell you, there's no point in playing the second half of this game. It's not worth your time. First half, it has its moments, and if you are a big fan of Rare, I think you'll enjoy this. If it's like a game you've never played, you'll enjoy like at least seeing a game that they made that you hadn't played yet. And it does have its moments in the first half. So at least I would say experience that, but then the rest, just to shut it off once you get to that fucking halfway point or 1/3 point, because the second half of the game is just ridiculous. But yeah, once you get to that point to shut it off, I will 100% tell you, it is not even close to being worth your time. But with that being said, it's time to take Jet Force Gemini and put it on the list.
The list.
You can follow along with the list in the paste bin link that I'm going to put in the description below. Where every week on the Up Supercast, when we add a game, we put it on the list. We have to figure out where we think it goes in comparison to the games that are already on it. So right now there are 224 games on the list, and we have to find a spot for Jet Force Gemini. Since it's a Patreon pick, whichever one of you guys want to start, go ahead. I don't give a shit.
Sure.
My judgment is based on like the original more so than the Rare Replay version, so I'm gonna be harsher on it.
Yeah. So when I was playing this game last night and finally getting through it, I thought like this game shares a lot of parallels, a few parallels with God Hand, because it's one of those games, like it's a cult classic. It was made by like a sort of revered studio. It's kind of like this forgotten game, sort of. And it has a lot of control issues. So, I mean, it kind of feels similar to something like God Hand, and I would put it in a similar space.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you, because when I was looking at it, that's around where I was looking at, was around God Hand. So I do agree with that. And there is comparisons to be made, especially with the controls in both of these games.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you want to put it below or above it. But, yeah.
I would put it below God Hand.
Yeah. I feel like God Hand has more depth. Like, I do like the fact that you can customize, all the fucking attacks you can use. There's so many attacks.
You can make your own fighting styles. Really
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. And, for all its faults, I think God Hand is funnier than this game.
Yeah, this God Hand was funnier and like more enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's like I mentioned earlier, I was just frustrated every time I had to pick up. I had to take so many breaks in between levels. I was just so frustrated with the combat. I was not having fun at all. So like, yeah.
So, if you want to put it below God Hand, I don't know how far you want to go below it or right below it.
I mean, I wanted to put it in hell personally, but
no, that's just ridiculous.
Well, since we agreed to rank the best version, I don't know that it's fair to go for the
Yeah, I
anything in
wouldn't.
the
Yeah, like I'm
N64.
just going based on like my own experience and like the version I played. That's why I
would
mentioned
still
it.
put it above Second Sight. Maybe below Second Sight. I don't know.
I think I would go below Second Sight. That's kind of hard. I mean, Second Sight wasn't as frustrating, and I think that's a big
like
boon in its favor. But
that's the thing. Like Second
was
Sight
also
had like
good.
it had like the stealth sections. You can mess around with it like a little bit here and there.
Yeah. But it also
was
had
fun. It was you could have fun playing the game.
relatively speaking. I mean, like you can't fucking target shit with the fucking telekinesis like you want to because there's so many things to fucking target. But yeah, I yeah.
You barely
I would put
target
it below.
anything in the fucking Force Gemini.
All right, I'm with you on that one. I'm okay. I'll meet you on that. Below Second Sight.
Here we go.
All right. So, we're gonna put Jet Force Gemini at number 198 on the list, and surrounding it, a whole lot of Game Club games actually. We got we just mentioned these games. We got number 196, God Hand. Number 197 is Second Sight. 198 is now belonging to Jet Force Gemini. 199 is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Also a Game Club game. And number 200, First Samurai. Which
An old Game Club game.
Was an old Game Club game back in the older days. So yeah, that's it for the list. And that's pretty much it for the podcast. But before we go, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. We do really appreciate it. And if you like the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, make sure to check out some other episodes. And you can find us on your favorite podcast listening service of your choice. It includes SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Every other Thursday, we upload a new episode of the Game Club. And every single Monday, we upload an episode of the Jump Up Supercast, which is just us going over the news and games, talking about just games in general, and adding a game to the list every week. So make sure you check that out as well. We do have social media where you can follow us to get updates on everything Jump Up Supercast. So we got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Give us a follow. We post when the new episodes go up. We post when we're live on our Twitch, which is at twitch.tv/JumpUpSupercast, where we, go there and we play. Of course, we play video games. What else would we fucking do, right? And been streaming a lot. We're affiliates now, so that's exciting. So if you want to drop by and hang out, watch us play some games, we greatly appreciate that. Give us a follow. And we also have, if you really want to support us, we also have a Patreon where you can support the podcast for as low as $1 a month. And for that price of $1 a month, you can get to enter a raffle where every round we take, we each take turns picking a game for the Game Club. So once a round, we let the Patreon supporters pick a game. Everybody picks one game. We throw them all into a raffle. We spin a wheel, and that's how we came to Jet Force Gemini. That's how we've come to some other games like Silent Hill 2. We played a bunch of Patreon picks, and we're gonna keep doing it. So if you want to have us pick a game, if you have a game you want us to play and you want to get a chance to get picked, it's only $1. And you also get access to our Discord, where you can hang out, talk about video games, talk about the list, talk about the podcast, talk about whatever you want, as long as it's, don't go too crazy. You can come hang out and talk to us on our Discord as well. So that's a lot of fun. So please, if you want to support us, that'd be awesome. We appreciate all of our Patreon supporters already. And thank you, again, thank you, Mitch, for being a Patreon supporter, because you did win this pick. So appreciate it. Appreciate the support. And with that being said, appreciate everybody for listening. Thank you, guys. Before we leave, Noah, now we're back to... actually, no, we start the new round. The Patreon pick is the new round, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, officially. But now we're back on to you, Noah. What game are we playing next?
We are playing Deep Fear for the Sega Saturn.
All right. Never even heard of this game.
I'm already afraid.
It's like here for Sega Saturn. We will tell you about it when we get back here in 2 weeks. Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. Go out there, play some video games, and be nice.